Have you ever suspected that your consciousness functions on a wavelength completely unreachable by the average person? Imagine that your daily thoughts are actually symptoms of a psychological rarity that the great Carl Jung dedicated his life to uncovering. New evidence indicates that these exceptional mentalities frequently align with specific archetypes, particularly the visionary types that Jung identified as the rarest among us. Stay tuned, because by the conclusion of this presentation, you will determine if you inhabit one of the most unique cognitive structures known to science. Believe me, the eighth indicator will fundamentally shift your perception of your internal world forever. Jung once remarked that the greatest privilege involves discovering your authentic self. But what occurs when your true nature functions at a frequency that feels utterly foreign to everyone you meet? What happens when your brain interprets existence through filters that leave others baffled, intimidated, or simply incapable of tracing your logic? According to Jungian theory, a tiny fraction of the population possesses a mind that operates in a manner fundamentally detached from the collective. These aren't merely high-IQ individuals. High intelligence is actually quite frequent. These are people whose awareness extends into realms that the majority cannot even detect, let alone comprehend. But here is the most striking part, and I want you to listen carefully. Jung observed that these people often fail to recognize just how singular their mental architecture actually is. They endure years feeling like outsiders, puzzled why daily talk feels hollow, why others overlook obvious links, or why their deepest truths trigger blank expressions or awkward silence. Does this resonate? Keep watching as we explore the 8 definitive markers that your intellect resides within that prestigious 1%. Indicator 1. You detect structures and synergies others overlook. Jung identified that specific people possess what he labeled introverted intuition. This is the capacity to see systemic links that remain invisible to the general public. If you own this brain type, you don't just observe isolated events. You see the invisible thread connecting the whole. But here is the fascinating twist. This might explain your lifelong feeling of being an outlier. During a discussion, while others focus on literal vocabulary, your brain is simultaneously analyzing the emotional subtext, the historical backdrop, the psychological weight, and the future consequences. You aren't just hearing a voice, you are deciphering what they mean, why they are saying it, and what it exposes about their hidden character. According to Jung, this talent originates from the collective unconscious. This is a profound psychic layer that most humans never visit. Those with this rare gift can access this well of universal symbols and ancient wisdom without conscious effort. Consider this experiment. When viewing a film, do you anticipate twists not through clues, but because you feel the story's structural rhythm? Do you finish sentences for others, not through telepathy, but because you sense the trajectory of their intent? If you are nodding, you are starting to see why the masses find your mind so mysterious. You are functioning on several planes at once while they focus on only one. Yet, there is a deeper layer to this structural awareness that Jung highlighted, and it leads us straight to our second marker. Indicator 2. You perceive existence through multiple dimensions. Jung suggested that whatever irritates us in others provides a path to understanding ourselves. But what happens when you instinctively see these layers of significance while everyone else stays on the surface? If you possess this rare cognitive map, you don't merely witness events. You feel the multifaceted nature of reality all at once. When a peer claims they are fine, you don't just hear a word. You detect the underlying tension, the defensive posture, the subconscious shields, and the silent narrative their spirit is trying to convey. This is what Jung described as psychological depth perception. It is precisely why most cannot follow your lead. While they process data in a straight line, you view existence as a complex three-dimensional mosaic. Here is the vital part to grasp, which explains so much of your social frustration. When you attempt to share these deep observations, people often react with bewilderment or skepticism. It isn't a lack of intelligence on their part. They literally lack the hardware to see the layers you are highlighting. Your conclusions seem to appear from thin air, as if you are inventing connections. Yet, Jung found something incredible about these specific individuals. They often serve as conduits between the waking mind and the dreaming soul. They translate the cryptic language of the spirit into ideas that others can eventually hold. Reflect on this. Are you naturally drawn to analogies and abstract metaphors that leave others confused? Do you use storytelling to explain yourself because raw facts never seem to capture the truth? This points to an even more captivating side of your mental design. Indicator 3. You are drawn to the hidden shadows of the soul. Jung believed one of the strongest signs of a rare mind is an unexplainable pull toward what he named the shadow. These are the buried, darker parts of human identity that most people try to suppress or ignore. If you have this awareness, you don't just acknowledge that darkness exists. You are genuinely fascinated by it. You want to know why people break, what fuels malice, and how the mind can house such polar opposites. But here is why this is so rare and why it scares people. While others label behavior as simply bad or wrong, your mind searches for the gears turning beneath the skin. You aren't excusing harmful acts. You are attempting to map the entire human condition. Jung stated that enlightenment doesn't come from imagining light, but from making the dark visible. Your mind instinctively moves toward this integration, exploring the restricted zones of the psyche. To truly know the light, one must first navigate the dark. This is why you love complex villains, dark philosophy, and heavy psychological themes that make others flinch. You seek these not for the thrill, but for the insight. Most people find this disturbing because they still live in a world of black and white. Your mind has matured past these labels into a messy, beautiful, nuanced understanding. This leads to perhaps the loneliest part of being you. Indicator 4. You feel like a foreigner in your own language. Jung found that people with this rare wiring often suffer from psychological isolation. This is the sensation that nobody truly understands the dialect of your inner life. You might share a basic thought, only to be met with a blank stare. What is happening is that your mind communicates via symbols and heavy subtext. You aren't just giving data, you are projecting entire concepts and intuitive textures. Most people only have the equipment for literal, surface-level exchange. Jung argued this isn't a defect. It proves your consciousness operates at a frequency beyond the standard. You are a high-definition broadcast being received by a standard-definition radio. How many times have you retracted a deep thought with a simple never mind because the explanation felt too exhausting? This is why you likely prefer writing, deep one-on-one talks, or even total silence. But Jung knew something vital. This gap isn't a wall, it is an invitation for others to grow. This leads to a sign that might confuse you. Indicator 5. You feel restricted by cold, hard logic. This sounds strange, but Jung saw that rare minds often feel trapped by purely rational thinking. You don't hate logic, you just see its walls. While others use linear cause and effect, you use intuitive logic. This is a way of knowing that blends feeling, symbols, and non-linear patterns. This is why you are a mystery to colleagues. While they build a ladder, you are seeing the whole building. You weigh what is rational against what feels true, and what fits the larger pattern. But as superior integration, Bill fits the larger pattern. You assume Mr. Decretion becomes saw this not as a weakness, and degradation. You are placing logic inside a much larger box of wisdom. This is why you trust your intuition over a spreadsheet. You see the gaps in perfect arguments that miss the human soul. Most people choose logic or emotion. Your rare mind dances between both, creating a harmony that sounds like noise to those who can only hear one note. This integration leads us to a very powerful ability. Indicator 6. You see through social facades instantly. Jung noted that what bothers us in others helps us see ourselves. But what if you see the masks everyone wears? If you have this mind, you don't just spot a lie. You see the fear behind the lie. You see the persona they use for protection and the real human shaking behind the curtain. This is a heavy gift. While others take social cues at face value, you are reading the silent script. You see micro gestures and energy shifts that others miss. Jung attributed this to active imagination, the power to look past the physical into the psychological truth. You don't just see the mask, you understand why they need it. This is why strangers tell you their secrets. You feel drained by small talk because you can see the effort it takes for people to stay superficial. You are one of the few watching the actual play while everyone else watches the set. This brings us to a struggle that might define your life. Indicator 7. You live with existential solitude. Jung discovered that rare minds often feel a deep sense of being alone in the cosmos, not because they lack friends, but because their view of reality is so hard to share. You can be at a party and feel like the only member of your species. Your mind naturally goes to the big why. Why are we here? What does this mean? While others worry about the weather, you are wrestling with the void. Jung saw this as a sign of spiritual maturity. You aren't depressed, you are deep. But when you share these thoughts, people change the subject. This is why you feel more at home in a library or an art gallery than a crowded bar. You are exploring the ocean while others stay in the wading pool. This solitude isn't a bug in your software. It is proof you have expanded past the usual limits. You are feeling the scale of the universe. This leads to the final, most transformative sign. Indicator 8. You are magnetically drawn to rebirth. Jung found that the rarest minds crave the process he called individuation. This isn't just self-help. It is alchemy. You don't just want to be better, you want to be new. You seek out experiences that break you down so you can rebuild. You want the chaos of change because you know that is where the truth lives. While others want safety, you want the fire. Jung said that accepting oneself is the most terrifying act. Your mind doesn't just accept it, it hunts it. This drive isn't a choice, it is a calling from your deepest self. You feel restless when life gets too easy. You know that a crisis is usually just a doorway to a breakthrough. Transformation is not a goal. It is the pulse of a rare mind. Most people cling to the shore. You are the one heading into the storm because you know what lies on the other side. So, those are the 8 signs. If these words felt like a mirror, you aren't broken. You are a bridge. Jung saw you as the translator between the seen and the unseen. Your unique perspective is a tool for human evolution. You aren't weird, you are simply more awake. You aren't difficult, you are just operating on a frequency that asks others to turn up their volume. Jung believed the privilege of life is becoming who you are. Your rare mind is the map for that journey. The next time you feel out of place, remember that you belong to a silent community of thinkers pushing the boundaries of what it means to be human. Your mind is not a problem to be fixed. It is a landscape to be explored. The world needs people who see the doors that everyone else walks past. Welcome to the minority. Your journey toward sharing your light is just beginning. Thank you for walking this path with me. If this resonated, please like this video and subscribe to Winds of Thought to join our growing community of rare minds. If you want to support our mission further, consider a super thanks below. It helps us keep creating content for minds like yours. What was the sign that finally clicked for you? Let me know in the comments. We are listening.